Hello everyone, welcome to the Bison Coaches Corner. I'm Jeremy Jorgensen, joined by head men's basketball coach Saul Phillips. We're going to break down the Bison men's basketball start to conference play. Summit League play started with a 2-game road trip, a couple of tough games, IPFW and IUPUI. IPFW certainly a contender this year. The Bison are 12-5 as we check in to start the conference season here, 12-5 overall. Things have gone well, got a big win over Notre Dame in the non-conference, but Saul, this first conference game at IPFW, that was a very tough game. They're an improved team, aren't they?
Let's go back and talk about the Notre Dame game. No, yeah, they are. They're going to contend for this league, and they're 14-5 right now. They've got a new center that is a load inside. They play very unselfishly. They play well, and they certainly gave us all we can handle and more on Thursday.
So it was an 82-71 loss for the Bison to open the conference play, but they were 20 of 21 from the free throw line in the second half, didn't shoot a free throw in the first half. Was that one of the key contributors in this ball game?
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a statistical anomaly in that they haven't been a great free throw shooting team this year. Give them credit. They stepped up. They knocked them down. We certainly fouled too much, gave up too many points in transition. They turned us over 15 times. They scored 14 points out of those 15 turnovers. That's not going to do it against anybody, and especially a good team like IPFW.
How about Steve Forbes? He's a new guy for them. He was a junior college transfer, started at Stetson. He's a big guy. Talk about his game a little bit and how he impacts their roster.
Big, he's huge. He's a mountain. He's gives them an inside presence, and they do go through him quite a bit. Certainly makes them a much different team offensively. They were replacing a kid named Frank Gaines last year that was one of the better scorers this league's seen. But the result is they're very balanced and very good.
Hey, you got the road split, though. You win at IUPUI on Saturday, 87-64. Your three senior stars, Trayvon Wright, Taylor Braun, Marshall Bjorklund, combined for 52 points. That kind of righted the mind a little bit, if you will, maybe get that road split and come out of the weekend with a victory.
Well, we only turned it over 5 times in that game. That was much, much better. And for a stretch of the second half, I thought we played about as good as we can. Good balance. We had a lot of people stepping up. Trayvon was exceptional, and he had a dunk that should have been on SportsCenter, but they didn't put it on there. Road wins are valuable, and we were very happy to get one.
Speaking of Trayvon Wright, he's a 6'7" senior from Waterloo, Iowa. 50% field goal percentage, 36% from three. Does it all. He's averaging 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 32 blocks. He can also dunk a little bit. Just amazing athleticism. Trayvon Wright is our feature story this week.
Braun feeds it in the lane to Wright. Spin slap and a one-arm, one-hand jam by Trayvon Wright.
When picturing a basketball player, someone tall and explosive should come to mind. In both of those categories, the 6'7" Trayvon Wright does not disappoint.
Just exciting, his length, his athleticism, and just how he flies around. He just brings a whole other dimension to us as a basketball team.
Freddie Coleman, a former Bison player, now assistant coach, has seen a lot of basketball. And Trayvon is something else.
He could possibly be the best in-game dunker that I've ever been around or seen. So, yeah, he's special.
So special that he doesn't even need to practice his huge dunks.
I dunk sometime at practice, but, it's kind of rare, I guess. Sometimes the body doesn't feel that good at practice, but in games, they just kind of just happen like that.
These plays are not only fun to watch, but are also good for the team.
It's great. The morale goes up. Everybody gets excited for it, and then we all jump off the bench and have a good time with it.
The fans also enjoy watching Trayvon throw down.
We would love that, if every game was just as packed as the Southern Miss game. That makes us feel better, of course, and makes us play even harder. It's like we play for them rather than ourselves.
So if you haven't gotten out to a Bison game this year, go out and see this high-flying player.
He's just a fun player to watch, and then the crowd gets into him and gets him going a little bit as well.
If you sit in the front, you better watch out.
He's a natural athlete. He's long and he's really bouncy, so if you're under the rim, watch your head.
And a pass ahead to Trayvon Wright for the two-hand dunk.
Saul, beyond the incredible dunking by Trayvon Wright, he's a great story. He's a senior. Lots of people have heard the story. Some haven't, though, and, how he ended up at NDSU. And give us a little snapshot of the whole package, how he ended up here in the story of Trayvon Wright.
Trayvon was being recruited by a lot of different schools, but we got serious about him probably a little earlier than some other schools. Came up here on a football weekend. Actually was hosted by Freddie Coleman, who was a student at the time. I remember it being about 75 degrees and sunny and trying to convince him that it was always like that up here. He had a great time, bonded instantly with our guys, and honestly, it's a privilege to work with him. He is a special young man in a lot of ways, and means as much to me as anybody that's ever played for me. I'm going to miss him when he's gone. And, you see the dunks. Dunks are great. We talked about morale and all that stuff. They're a high percentage shot. But more importantly, on the defensive end, the block shots, the deflections he causes, he can guard a lot of different types of players. And his versatility makes us much better as a team. But with him, just being around him every day is a lot of fun. He's a quiet, laid-back, very thoughtful kid and would do anything for his teammates, represents the school extremely well. Special, just special.
Yeah, he certainly is a very pleasant kid, no doubt. Now, looking ahead to this week, Saul, Omaha, certainly a formidable opponent. Just going through their schedule, they won at Nevada, who's 4-0 in the Mountain West, lost by 3 at UNLV, lost by single digits to Iowa, who just won at Ohio State, and were up 7 in that game, played the Gophers tough. This is a decent opponent on Thursday.
Decent, it's good. I mean, the Summit landscape looks a little bit different this year. Mm-hmm. Teams like IPFW, UNO have a legit chance to win it this year. They've certainly shown it by, look at what Iowa's doing in the Big Ten. I mean, they beat Ohio State the other night. They went and hung around with them. UNLV, they've been very, very good all preseason, so it's not an anomaly. Get used to it. Omaha's a good program, and they should be. They've got good coaches. They've got good players. They're in a good location. So as this league moves forward, it's good to see programs, as they get more and more entrenched in Division I, like Omaha, really step forward. It's good for the overall strength of our league, which is a sneaky good league. I think the league RPIs came out, I think the Summit League's 13th in the nation, which you'd be surprised that some of the leagues we're in front of. We're the best league nobody talks about.
Yeah, it's true. And Western Illinois, a very good team last year, lost a lot of guys from that team, but they just beat Omaha, so obviously they're not an easy opponent again this year, are they?
Well, Molinari is as good as they get in college basketball.
Coach.
He's a terrific coach, and every time you play them, he's going to impose his will on the game, and it's a matter of trying to get to what you're comfortable with. They do a lot of things defensively to take you away from that. Have all the respect in the world for them and their program, and you know what? There's going to be a lot of these weekends where you got 2 really strong teams coming in. Got to figure out a way to get them both.
We want to see everybody out at the Bison Sports Arena, of course, but there's plenty of media options as well. Statewide television for both games on the MeTV networks and also 790 KFGO across the radio. We'll be back next week to wrap these games up, go over all the highlights, break down the plays for Bison men's basketball against Omaha and Western Illinois. That's it for this week's Coach's Corner. We'll see you next week.